course, our top story, the Washington Post says President Trump shared highly classified information with the Russian ambassador and foreign minister last week in the Oval Office. The White House has denied it, and the Russians have come out this morning, and they've denied it as well.
And now let's look at some of the tweets that the president has just put out regarding this situation after H.R. McMaster came out last night and written statements from Dina Powell and Dina Powell and Rex Tillerson. He says this: as president, I want to share with Russia an openly scheduled White House meeting, which I have the absolute right to do, facts pertaining to terrorism and airline flight safety, humanitarian reasons. Plus, I want Russia to greatly step up their fight against ISIS and terrorism. And now we bring in Laura Ingraham to react, who was given instant analysis last night on Special Report. Laura, we saw you do some great work last night. What would you like to add to the story today after the president's tweets?
The president's tweet that you just read confirms what both Dina Powell and Rex Tillerson's statement and H.R. McMaster's statement last night said. The critics of the president, and I would include in that the authors of the Washington Post piece that they were celebrating in the newsroom of the Washington Post about yesterday. They believe and they maintain that what the president revealed, while not illegal, because he has the right as the chief executive to declassify information if that's what he chooses to do, they concede it's not illegal, but that basically it's irresponsible and could compromise those other source countries that are helping us and sources that are helping us in the fight against ISIS. But in that tweet that you just read, the president said his goal is to have Russia greatly step up their fight against ISIS, which we all know has done enormous damage and bring instability to the region, causing the big humanitarian crisis with the migration to Europe. And that's where we are right now. But it was amazing to watch this unfold last night with the egregious feeding frenzy that took place not just in newsrooms, but was jumped on by some Republican senators like Bob Corker, who just take lock, stock, and barrel, whatever some leaker who gave information to the Washington Post said, and said, well, I find this disturbing that this could be happening. So, as usual, the critics of the president and the Senate jump all over reports before we really learn more.
They made the right choice as Secretary of State not to pick him.
Right. Well, exactly. And again, remember where we are right now. We're at a point where the media and certain critics of the president want him to stay off narrative and stay off message. He's about to leave on this historic trip to the Middle East, to Rome, to the Vatican. This is a big deal trip, and anything they can do to nick him up and scar him up before he goes over there, they will do.
You know,
and this is just part and parcel of that.
What's interesting is the leaker was so upset that the president allegedly leaked the stuff that they went to the Washington Post and leaked the information.
Yeah, and a couple of us last night after Special Report were positing that the report in the Washington Post could be more damaging than certainly whatever happened inside the Oval Office with Lavrov and 3 other principals from the White House and from National Security, State, whatever was discussed is the Washington Post piece, even though they say, well, we're not reporting on the source country information, the signal source information that we believe was compromised. But I want to go back, though, for a moment to what we were all discussing in January. In January, LifeZet wrote the first piece about the problem of leaks inside this administration. And at the time, like, no one was talking about it. We did a big piece on it on LifeZet. And this problem continues to plague this administration. And whatever they need to do to stop irresponsible leaks or disgruntled employees from rushing to the media, they ought to do, because they are the ones who are compromising our international relations, as far as I know now. Maybe we'll learn something else, but the information I have now indicates that the administration is being very consistent in how they're responding to this. Very consistent.
But it sounds like, according to the Washington Post, some of the sources for this, it sounds like there were 2 leaks, a former and a current member of the administration. So we know that the Obama people were out to get Mr. Trump, although you made the joke last night that it could have been somebody from the Reagan administration, but probably not.
Well, also, Ducey, remember that there are probably people still inside the national security apparatus who worked in the Obama administration. It doesn't mean they can't be loyal public servants and do a great job, but we just don't know that yet.
Laura,
we don't know.
But the way it seems, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, because you had the information unfolding coming right to you there. The way it seems is, well, whoever was in that room was in that room, and because something was revealed, H.R. McMaster picked up the phone and called over to the NSA and CIA and said, listen, we went over certain things with the Russians. We just want to make sure that you know, and there's no there, but we want to explain to you that we did tell them about the ISIS information, and maybe the town. And somehow it got from the intelligence apparatus to the Washington Post with the name and all the details there. So I can't imagine Mike Pompeo doing that. But somehow they got from there to the Washington Post. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Russian photographer, Lavrov, Kislyak. McMaster.
We learned that last night.
Right. It's like that phone call that the president had with the Prime Minister of Australia, where supposedly he hung up on him. Next thing you know, it's on the front page of the newspaper. Now,
think about what is right now compromising U.S. interests. In my view, what is compromising U.S. intel interests is a senior-level intel officer, intermediate level. We don't know who McMaster talked to. He's not going to reveal that. Who clearly, in the subsequent reporting, seems to have been the one who got this ball moving down the field last night in this Washington Post report. That is really disturbing. That is a crime. What the president did in the Oval Office, even the critics are saying there's nothing illegal here because he has the right to do this, even if that, let's say that's true, what the Washington Post reported. But what is a crime is what happened with the intel official, if that intel official then got the information to the Washington Post. That could, in fact, be a crime. Again, the leaks inside this administration are hurting both their functioning and the security of this country. Not what was said in this meeting with Lavrov and Kislyak. That is ridiculous.
What do you make of the timing? Can the timing tell us who leaked this? Because this meeting was 6 days ago. It was on May 10th. Here we are, May 16th. The information was just given to the Washington Post. They just did this story 5 days later. So does that mean someone in the meeting might have told some friends, and then, or someone in the...
I don't think so.
What do you think happened? What do you make of the timing?
I don't think that's what happened. I don't think Dina Powell or Tillerson and McMaster is like chatting about this. No. What I think happened is when McMaster called over to the intel people and said, look, I just want to be clear what happened at this meeting. That then trickled down from someone that he talked to intermediate level staff or staffer, maybe a career person heard it. I don't know if we're ever going to know this. But it had to have trickled down, in my view, and how I analyze this now. Again, we could learn more information. That's how it trickled down. And then you get another former official from the Obama administration off the record saying, oh, well, yeah, this actually is an outrage if this happened. That's what we're hearing. And then it becomes...
So you don't think it was someone necessarily in the meeting?
It was someone in the intel agency.
Absolutely not.
And by the way, if the intel agency covets intelligence so greatly, why would they call the Washington Post and reveal every single thing, including the city, and then they had to be called off the ledge on that? By the way, the people in the intel community should realize you don't work for the president, you work for the country, and you're hurting. This hurts the country.
Well, they're trying to hurt
someone's approval rating.
Exactly right. But there is someone burrowed into the intel community, at least one person, who wants to hurt Trump. This is about. This is not about we're worried the Russians are going to chop someone's head off or shoot someone in the head. They want to hurt Trump before he goes overseas for this historic series of meetings that no president has ever tried to undertake. That is what's going on here. That's pulling the curtain back and seeing what's really happening in deep state.
Of course, this does involve Russia, and the narrative has been all along Russia, Russia, Russia.
Yeah.
In one of the first instances, Russia apparently leaked to WikiLeaks all those DNC email, right? Well, now there's a story up on FoxNews.com. Remember that DNC staff member by the name of Seth Rich, who, there he is right there. He was killed about 10 months ago. It was rumored that he was the source of the emails. I'm sure you've heard that. Well, now, I'm going to just read you the lead line on the FoxNews.com story. The DNC staffer who was gunned down on July 10th on Washington, D.C. street last July, just steps from his home, had leaked thousands of internal email to WikiLeaks, law enforcement sources have told Fox News. So it looks like there's a possibility this is a guy who provided to WikiLeaks all those DNC email.
Then he was shot in the back.
He was shot in the back.
Nothing
murdered.
Taken from his person. That's Anyone at the time thought that was bizarre. He happened to work for the DNC, rumored to have had contacts with WikiLeaks, and then he's shot in the back. Nobody takes his cell phone, his wallet, just found in the street in Washington, D.C. Rod Wheeler, the investigator who helped break this story with Fox 5 here in Washington, said that he was told by the D.C. police to, quote, basically stand down.
Yep.
Just stand down. You're not going to get anywhere with this. He maintains that on this computer and Seth Rich's, I believe, relatives, if that's, I think that was what was in the story, that his computer is in the hands of authorities, and that on that computer we will have more definitive information about how he was in touch with WikiLeaks. And Julian Assange today from WikiLeaks retweeted this report, indicating to a lot of people that he was confirming that in fact Seth Rich was the source of these DNC emails to WikiLeaks, and that he was shot by someone. But
it seems
no
very
suspects.
suspicious. You know what's interesting? That the parents aren't pursuing it.
Well,
they were told it was a robbery.
I don't know what to say about that, but when people don't want information to get out, and when an election is on the line, again, reading between the lines, a lot of people will do a lot of things that otherwise they wouldn't do when hundreds of billions of dollars are on the line.
What you want to say about Julian Assange, the one thing he's always said over and over again, it wasn't the Russians, it was somebody else.
Consistently. And again, people will say Assange, you can't trust Assange. We don't know, but this is at least something that's worth reporting on, isn't it? There's an aggressive lack of curiosity on the part of the frothing media that is hell-bent on portraying this administration as out of control, no discipline, et cetera, et cetera. Where's the follow-up on this story? We got some investigator who's just going around by himself finding out all this information, and where's the Washington Post on this?
And the computer's in the hands of authorities. I don't understand why they're not getting to the bottom of this.
And why would you want to leak information to begin with? All
right. Well, the story's just breaking last night and this morning, so let's hope that we finally get to the bottom of this.
Laura, thanks a lot. Great stuff last night, too.
Thanks,
Appreciate it. All right.